underwriting club? I have no idea. Like, I work 7 days a week. All right. So that's just what I do. Anyway, I'm in my office and here I can just hear a bunch of noise downstairs. It's only me and my husband. So I'm like, ooh, something's happening with the football game.
So is underwriting closed today?
No, I have no idea. I don't know. know. So I don't know what time what an agent told her that. I'm like, I don't know, check the holiday schedule. I don't think MLK is on there for a formal holiday that the company's closed. So, not that I remember. I know it's like mainly it's, New Year's and then you skip almost, I think you skip all the way to Memorial Day. So we're not like, we're on the corporate side anyway. I know that we use their support, but we're on the field. Like I said, if you ask me, it's hard for me not to be on my computer. That's just my personality. So always got something to do. I know. And so like, if you guys, Monday Motivation, if you guys listen to that real quick, talking about excellence, like that is, and this is just, I'm just telling you guys this, like I've uncovered what my top 5 values are. And one of them is excellence. And that's why I strive to do everything with excellence, but that's just my personality. It's not saying anybody has to be like me, right? That's not why I'm saying this, but I really like, you have to be true to who you are. And that's just, and he addresses that in that short clip that I sent. It's really good. It's talking about, hey, if you want to not be mediocre, then be excellent. So do something more than what you're doing now. That's not everything that he had on there, but
well, I was worried about being a perfectionist. I'm safe there. So
no, I know. So then you strive for excellence then, because that's the 2 things that he compares. So, all right, let's look at our John Maxwell Daily Reader. All right, today is the 30-second rule. Let's see what that says. When most people meet others, hi Jeremy, good morning. When most people meet others, they search for ways to make themselves look good. The key to the 30-second rule is reversing this practice. When you make contact with people, instead of focusing on yourself, search for ways to make them look good. Every day I meet with people, I pause to think about something encouraging I can tell them. What I say can be one of the things I might thank them for something they've done for me or for a friend. I might tell others about one of their accomplishments. I might praise them for a personal quality that they exhibit, or I might simply compliment their appearance. The practice isn't complicated, but it does take some time, effort, and discipline. The reward for practicing it is huge because it really makes a positive impact on people. 25 ways to win with people. Take 30 seconds with each person you meet today to add value to them. That's my challenge to you guys for today. I don't know about you, but if you kind of put yourself in the position of everyone you'll come across today, and if that was your effort, you never know what people are going through, what type of day they've already had at 9 o'clock in the morning already. So it is helpful to always think of something positive to say about that person, or like I said, just their appearance or whatever it is. It is a great habit. It really is, because it makes people think like you care, and which most of us do, right?
Hey, Skylar, that color looks wonderful on you, bud.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
CLA.
Your beard looks nice.
You too, Jerry.
All right. So let's share some good news. Last week, let's just share like maybe one thing that, whether it be from, since we're all at the kickoff, let's just make it kickoff focused, right? So name one takeaway from the kickoff that you're like, I'm really going to apply this to my business, to apply this to my year. That's one thing.
Same as for me, it's hammering on commercial. The last speaker was probably my favorite speaker. Just how personal he was. kind of humanize himself in terms of taking pictures of vans when he's driving by and looking them up, and that information was actually solid.
Yeah, I have to agree with Skylar on that one because the commercial, I didn't know all the other details in the CCB. I mean, I knew how to look them up, but I was all like their phone number, their email, and their address, and then how he said like they might be living out of their home. So that was a lot of good insight.
And Kirby, sorry, Jeremy, I know you're just gonna talk. Kirby McClanahan's like one of my favorite people on this whole earth. He is, what you saw on stage is exactly who he is all the time. So he is, he's a great guy. Jeremy.
Yeah, I spent a few months working as the commercial specialist for a broker out in Beaverton, and it was kind of like, oh yeah, I remember how to do all that when he was talking about the commercial stuff, because that's what I did for a quarter of a year. So not very long, but long enough to be like, okay, yeah, I can run all that, so that was good. But for me, probably the biggest takeaway was I'm completely blanking on what it was called, his company now, but the market insights stuff. Yeah, I'm a big data nerd. So yeah, getting in on some of that market data is going to be great, especially since a lot of my clients out in Civic is pretty high net worth individuals, so they really appreciate the nuance of a lot of these things when you're sitting there and talking about it. I'll get the clients that it's like, okay, turn and burn, what's the cheapest price? But then also people who are like, okay, yeah, but how does this one little tiny? Because a lot of them, I'll be going out for an hour or more, sitting at their house, going over their quote when I go to take my pictures. So yeah,
Yeah,
that was good.
it's so Sam, or Rossi, something like that, from Troy Korsgaard's group. Like he runs the data insight division of Troy Korsgaard's whole area, and so I have a free membership to it just because I'm a district leader and we're doing this big, practice management push. So on my end, so I'm going to start doing, like I do Monday motivations. I might do Tuesday tidbit, and it's going to be, from competitive insight from that site. So I might, every week be throwing out something that I read, but I don't know how many of you have, and I might have mentioned this to some of you last week, the P&C specialist, you get those emails and you can click on some of those. Well, the article I clicked on last week was about Geico. And, when he mentioned about these insurance companies looking for every way not to pay a claim, because profit is made or revenue is kept one of two ways. You either raise rates, and so you increase revenue, or you don't pay claims, so you keep the revenue that you've already earned, right? So those are the two levers that insurance companies pull. And this article talked about Geico not covering a claim from one of its clients because the parent had not disclosed the 12-year-old girl that was living in the household. And you're just like, okay, let me think about that just as a consumer, right? So I'm going along, I have insurance. My kids, like, no, you don't, do you disclose that you have a 5-year-old that you have, like they don't, what? So no, it just because she was 12, like because she was 12 and she was not disclosed in the household, they denied the auto claim. Not even a driver, and it's just what Sam said at the very end, that whole contract that you sign when you sign up with Allstate. He was referring to that, where it's, they will do anything possible in order to look for a loophole, right? And I'm not saying that in every situation. I'm not disparaging my competition. I'm just saying this is an example of what he was referring to, and that you're, and take that however you want. Like these desperate times call for desperate measures, right? So, I don't know. The takeaway on that one was make sure you gather as much information as the country would never do that. Number one. All right, never. Like, okay, we're going to deny your claim because you didn't tell us you had a 5-year-old in the household. What?
I mean, don't count on it, but I've seen some of those worst case scenario reconstruction claims, and you never really want to see that happen. But the fact that country will do those reconstruction, go back, like they'll back charge you for the premium, but they'll provide coverage for something that was in air. Like you're not going to get that from a lot of the competition. Yeah. So
yeah. No, you're not, because that's the thing. We're about the people, we're about our clients, we're about you guys, so there's always be something, right? But overall, Like I have never seen a situation that was dicey where country did not protect the agent and the client. Absolutely. You know, anyway, so great takeaway, Jeremy, on KIC. And again, I think some people are like, oh, he's just up there trying to sell his memberships. I go, well, of course he is, because it benefits you. Like as a business owner, think about, is that a vendor partnership that I'd like to invest at least a year of my time in, right? And pick up some different talking points when you're sitting down with clients that are new prospects. It'll be great as we roll into, Oregon growth, where we're going to get exposed to a lot more opportunity to be able to, I don't know, have some different guns that you go to, I don't know. So I think was it $60 a month to do that, I think. So, so check it out. I always say, hey, this is, you got to make sure it's a charcuterie board of options on the vendor partnerships, right? So that is one. It was so interesting. He presented it when we were at ALC, which is Agency Leadership Conference in December. And he was my favorite speaker too, because I was like, oh my gosh, I was taking, pictures, didn't know I would get a membership to his site, but so much information. So
I got that email, Christine. That was the one that I feel like I have so many emails. I'm kind of, who sent that?
I don't, but I can forward it to you. You just go to, I believe it's like, if you just Google Horrors Garden Insights Community KIC, it might pop up at that point.
I'll find it.
Yeah. All right, what other takeaways?
I mean, the repetitive commercial, that just, to me, it seems very straightforward. Contractors, I don't think are also that difficult to get a hold of. They have offices, they have homes, they like talking about their business. So it just is so comfortable to me that it doesn't seem like it's gonna be that difficult. I think just getting on the contractor board is, how much information you have before you talk to them is, just having that much data is huge.
Yeah.
And Miles and I spoke about it briefly the other day, but my recommendation to anybody who's new to the systems wanting to really learn our commercial product and sell it is, even if you don't write a bunch, quote as much as you can right now in the old system where there's still underwriters you can ask questions to before the new system switches to the click to know AI chatbot that walks you through everything. Because the new system's a lot easier to use, but for some of the beginner questions, the like, I just don't know, or like, how does this, or I'm just a big fan of having a real human on the other side. And so
and I know, so
yeah.
if you guys have taken the training right over the weekend, I took the training, so all or doing commercial auto, like all those things that I have not taken that training for years, right? So I took it just to be more familiar, going into our crushing commercial and also the commercial focus for our district. And yeah, so it says in there, as you're, I was going through the Bob quote, and it says, if at any point it says it's ineligible, it's not like you could call underwriting and ask for an exception or anything like that. I honestly, like, there has to be at some point, and this might be some feedback that we give to them, there has to be at this point, like, if it's ineligible and you don't know why it's ineligible, right? So I don't know, as you're going through it, if it will tell you why, or it just won't let you continue to go. Because I think that's if it doesn't tell you intuitively, then that's a missing piece, because I think everybody should know, well, here's why it's ineligible. So
they
hopefully,
also said you can't go back and change errors. So I don't know. I'm nervous about.
well, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Because on our crushing commercial call today, like the cohort that we're doing, those Kimberwitt and Southern Arizona, they were the pilot for the whole thing. So they, some of those people might have some answers to that. And also Kansas City is in it already ahead of us. We're wave 3. So they've all gone through it. So maybe these are some questions that might come up. But very good. Well, Jake, any takeaways from you?
Yeah, I thought Sam was great. Vlad was very interesting to hear from, back that perspective on more of a quantity that, I mean, not saying the quality isn't good for what they're bringing in, but just kind of the way he looked at his business and how he ran it. I thought that was a really interesting insight. But I think Sam and Kirby were my two favorite. Kirby's one of my favorites as well. Just
Yeah.
being able to work with them.
Well, you've
last
worked with
years.
them.
Yeah. So, always known commercial's been huge for him. So being able to kind of see a little bit more on what he was referring to all those years
Yeah.
was great. So yeah.
And I do, so I reached out to him and he sent me his PowerPoint, so I have that as well. And so I do want to get that into the hands of our whole district, just because I want you to know, hey, to go back and how do you look all that up? And so I'll be sending that out this week. So that'll be good. All right, so anything else? Any other good news besides, I put some things into practice. I sent Jake two leads on the commercial end yesterday. As I was walking my neighborhood, and there was like a plumbing van, and then there was a HVAC or something like that, And so I didn't have my phone. My husband was walking with me, and I was like, "Hey, let me have your phone." He's like, "What are you doing?" Like, I'm taking a picture of the van so I can send it out. So anyway, and it's as easy as that. So Skylar, tell your story real quick last week.
Yeah, after the training, I was driving by and kind of did the exact same thing. I saw an electrician van that pulled by and took a picture of it. Of course, on the freeway, probably not the safest thing, but just got done. And then I went on the website, what the guy had told us about, looked it up. And it's really cool because it tells you exactly when the policy is going to expire or renew. And just called him and introduced myself as a new insurance guy. I'd love to take a shot at earning his business. And then today, or on Friday, I have a buddy of mine, Alex Capizoli, who works for Farmers. He's been there for, I think, 3 years, but he does have 5 associate agents. I got to go by, have lunch with him, go see his office, and just kind of see what it's like, the mayhem in his office with all his agents working.
Yeah.
But
And there's-
before that, he's really good friends with Vlad, so he does.
Oh,
Vlad
really?
also.
Nice.
It's like, yeah, everything Vlad says is absolutely true. Like, that's a lot of agents he's got, but.
Yeah. And the great thing about it, so it was funny, I these were some comments that I made to somebody last week, but I stayed overnight. So the next morning, in the lobby, I was walking out and I saw this guy on his phone and he was pacing back and forth, around the bar area because no one was there in the morning. And as I walked by, I go, "Oh my gosh, that's Vlad." So up on stage, looks like a tall guy, but he's really not. He's super short and looks like a little kid. Honestly,
Yeah.
He does. So, I say all that to say that with his, this is what I want to make sure all of you are in complete control of what the vision of your business looks like. All right. And for some, the vision of their business from the very beginning and are unwilling to change is they're a one-man show, right? I'm going to go from extremes. I'm going to go from Vlad that has 24 people on his team to, other country agents that we know, some in our district that have never hired an assistant and never will. It's never, it's not a vision for their business, and they're independent contractors. So there's nothing, I could sit in front of them all day long and say, "Hey, I would love for you to hire some help." No, I don't want to. Okay. All right. These are just, there's people in our district that do that. Right. And then somewhere in between, a lot in between of what you want. So I guess I say all that to make sure and always, think about, like, what is your 2-year, your 5-year, your 10-year vision for your business, right? What do you want that to look like? And if it's in stages, right? Like if you look at Vlad, that's the extreme, right? He has put systems and processes in place to have a well-oiled machine that when he's gone, for a week doing a road show with country, right? Because after he met with us, he was on his way to Arizona to do Market 2 kickoff. They got the same thing. And so he's out of his agency for a week. Well, I'm sure they didn't stop producing. You know, they have systems in place and other people in place to take care of those. I'm sure there's a hierarchy and so forth, but somewhere in between that, right? Or if Vlad's vision for his business is your vision of what you want to create, because that's what you want to do, then great. How can we support that? Then what is the increment years to get to that, right? That doesn't happen overnight. So what are you putting in place? And maybe your vision is just, hey, I want to have 2 associate agents. That's my vision. Great. How do we make that happen? And what does that look like progressing from just you or just an assistant to what the vision of that looks like? Right. So I'm just planting the seed that the number 1 step is to create that vision for what you want it to look like. And that can change over time too, right? It can be where you feel some momentum and you're like, hey, you know what, maybe I want to add some more staff. Maybe I want to have specialists. Maybe I want to have a life associate agent. I want to have a commercial associate agent. Like I want to have these people that are in charge of those streams of income in my business. Right? This can look like however you want it to look like. I'm just here to support that. Now, what I will highly dissuade you from is a one-man show. I mean, you're not going to take full advantage of the grid that way. Absolutely not. Because you only have 24 hours in a day. So you want to duplicate yourself. Imagine having 2 people out there prospecting. Maybe having some competition between you and your associate agent who could bring in more business. You know, I mean, take full advantage, make the most money you can. You will not get 15% by yourself. You just can't. There's nobody. And I'm not saying 15% on the grid is where you are aiming, right? Maybe somewhere in between there, but you will burn out if you're trying to do that all by yourself. Jeremy's nodding his head.
I'm just thinking about my dad's office and how he's slowly built that up. And I know they talk about that. That's the big thing. I don't think he even care about me saying it because he'll tell anybody he's the opposite of secrecy. He's Mr. Transparent. So they hit the 15% grid this year, and it's the first time he's done that. And it's like it's because we hired somebody new. So he's got 2 associate agents, a life person. I don't know if she's an associate agent or not, but he's got 2 PNC people. He's got somebody manning the front desk. He's got somebody, just doing all the clerical stuff, and then he's got somebody selling life. So it takes a village.
Mm-hmm. And he's also one that is like, okay, people, like, I'm banking some money because this won't last forever. He's such a pessimist. I'm like, no, yes, you do. You need to repeat. You can. If you did it 1 year, you can do it again. Right? So let's just make hay while the sun is shining. So
it also looks like I didn't have my laptop on over the weekend, and I'm trying to push it off, but Windows might force me to update. I might have to dip out of the meeting for a second.
No worries. Mine, I think on Saturday I was working on, all of a sudden it shut down. It's like, oh, okay. Let's do an update without telling me. Or I probably clicked it, didn't pay attention to it.
I kept pushing it off, and that was a progress timer bar on my,
Oh, there you go.
on my screen. It's like
no worries. If you disappear, Jeremy, we know why. How about we do a little bit of life insurance training today? You guys up for that? All right. So as Jeremy was mentioning, I was in Andy's office last week. So Andy Musin, all right. So you guys, he is one of our, and I say one because it varies every single year. There's like our top 5 agents in our district, and Andy definitely is one of those. All right. And he, qualified for All-American all 4 ways that you can last year. So kudos to him. I mean, he rolled $5 million in financials, which he's never done before, right? And he's one of our top asset holders. And sold a bunch of life and, was just helping his clients, honestly. And so he called me or texted me last week, I think it was Wednesday, after I got back from the kickoff. And he was like, hey, I'm going to take full advantage of you living in the same city as me. And can you come to my office because I want to plan for my life insurance goal for 2026. I'm like, okay, I'll come to your office. Like, really, you need my help? Okay. you know, but he does, like, that's who he goes, I just want you, I need accountability. I want you to hold me accountable to the ideas that we're putting together, and I want you to hold me accountable every single month. Like every month you come in here and you tell me, Christine or Andy, here's what you have to do. But that's just how he works. If somebody tells him he has to do something, he's like, all right, I'll do it. You know, so it was a great meeting. But one of the things he had mentioned that he had just done a life insurance training with his networking group, so his leads group. All right, and he holds the life seat, and he said, he goes, it was almost like I blew these people away, like they didn't know about some of these concepts. And so he showed me, I go, well, what did you present? He showed me his PowerPoint that he presented. And I'm like, hey, send me a copy of that. I'd love to go through that. It's super simple. It's very easy concepts. But he said it was amazing how the people in his leads group were sitting there going, I didn't know that. Really? That's how that works? You know, so these are people that I'm sure have heard him for a whole year talk about life insurance. But until you actually sit down and make them look at some of the statistics, because we know right now that so many Gen Z are the ones that don't talk about life insurance or are not looking at life insurance because they think life insurance is too expensive. That's in their mind. Like because they haven't, no one, like you people have not sat down with them, right? Our Gen Z generation. And so Andy did a really good job of laying out some of these things. So I'm gonna share just a few slides of his PowerPoint, just to help equip you guys as you're having conversation, because I want these sessions to be valuable to you, and that you walk away with, hey, here's a couple talking points when it comes to either presenting in front of a leads group that you'll be in the future or are in now. You'll always have like a 10-minute presentation that you get the opportunity to 10 minutes, a whole 10 minutes of your peers, you know, in the group, their time to present what, like you get to talk about your product, yourself, your business. All right. So I'm going to share my desktop. And we're going to go through this. So first of all, he talked about his team and just what have I been up to? That's the milkman. Anyway, so then he gets down to business. He does this. It's super simple. Term versus whole life. Now, I'm sharing my screen so I can't see you guys, but if you have a question during any of this, please just interrupt me. Okay. All right, so basically term life insurance, and he just went through this with me quickly, so I'm going to put my own words to it. All right. So anyway, term life insurance, it's for rent, right? These are the ones that have a temporary need, right? As you're uncovering needs, they're just this is what it is. You just rent the need, the life insurance for a certain amount of time to cover a temporary need that you as a consumer might have or your client might have. And it's an inexpensive way to have that guaranteed coverage, that guaranteed need that should something happen to you, you don't walk through the door tomorrow, your family's taken care of, right? So that's really a way to explain term life insurance. It's just for a certain amount of time, right? Helps cover the greatest immediate income replacement debt expense payoff for the lowest cost. It is a good solution to have if you're putting a plan together for those that own a home. Right. So the lists that I talked to Andy about, because as we were going through this, I go, hey, if you're going to reach out to your current book of business and any prospects that you come in contact with that own a home, you're doing home quotes, you're doing all of that, talk to them about mortgage protection, right? Especially for first-time homeowners, or, you know, protect the liability that they would probably not want to give their spouse should they not walk through the door tomorrow, right? So that's a good thing. That is a good reason for term life insurance to cover that, just how much they owe in their home. Like it's going to be temporary. It's going to go away in 30 years, you know, at some point. Well, that's what you say. In reality, they'll probably sell a house and buy another one for another 30 years. So anyway, it is a good solution for dual income couples starting their families, right? They're probably having lots of expenses. And what if one spouse chooses to stay at home to raise or teach kids, homeschool, you know, all those things. it's still good to have that coverage, and term insurance offers that at a lower cost. Right? That's also a good solution for startup business owners that now are business owners not working for a company, and they're independent contractor. They can't get life insurance through work for that temporary need, right? So these are all reasons to bring up, hey, here's a good solution for your problem, because all of these start with a problem, right? They don't have the insurance. All right, whole life insurance. He describes it as a utility chest, like we've all played Monopoly, right? Life insurance matures. Like as a kid, I had no idea what that meant. Like honestly, how many times have we gotten this card? And life insurance, what is that? Oh, I collect $100. That's all I care about. You know, so when it says life insurance matures, they're talking about maturity of a whole life product, not term. Term never matures, it just expires. Okay, there's a difference between the two. Best return, these are some of the points that Andy made. Best return on investment for lifetime death benefit insurance need. It is your ROI, obviously, on a whole life product based on the amount of money that you invest into it. And you really don't ever use the word investment that you put into it. A term product can never compete with a whole life product, right? If we're talking about ROI, unless we have the ROP, but still he'll prove here that whole life product still outpaces the ROP. Cash value increases each year. It also pays dividends. Country Life A+ rated for 100 years. Like we've never not been A+ rated, and we just increased our dividend. So it's interesting when Tim Harris mentions all the game of telephone and how that was, somebody said, like, who in the heck would say that the life company is going out of business? Oh my word. Somebody that wants to cause rumors that aren't true. I don't know, but we are A+ rated based on our financial stability. If every life policy had to be paid out all at one time, we would still have money in the bank, or let's just put it that way. Okay. We are super conservative when it comes, but we did just increase our dividend, and we've never not paid a dividend. Like in the contract, when you look at a whole life, you look at the illustration, you have guaranteed column, right, of all the different years and what the death benefit is and cash value and all of that. You have guaranteed, you have intermediate, and then you have what's the other one called? I can't remember, but it's the one that we're currently paying, right? So you have all three of those. The guaranteed one is this is what we guarantee, but we've never not paid a dividend. We just can't say that we guarantee dividends will be paid every year. Right. Anyway, food for thought. Along with that, a great aspect, if you don't already know this about our whole life product, is that we do not recognize loans. All right. So what that means is if you have a whole life product and your client wants to pull out some of the cash value, you would always promote, hey, let's take a loan on it first before you just withdraw it. Right. Because country does not recognize, we're one of like 2 or 3 companies across the board, life insurance companies, that do not recognize the loan, which means we still continue to pay dividends as if that money were still in the cash value. Right? So somebody can come in if they have $100,000 in cash value and take a loan for $100,000 out of their life insurance policy. And we still would pay dividends on the cash value piece as if the $100,000 was still there. That's pretty good. Wouldn't you say? See you guys. So,
Christine.
Yes.
And I can't remember because I know that was something that got gone over when I was doing a lot of my life training. But how does that affect if it comes to a claim? Then if like if we're having to pay out a life claim and they have those loans against it, like I know it's been growing the dividends for each term, but what happens come claim time if they still have those outstanding loans? Is that like is there anything besides the loan amount that gets taken out, or how
it's just that. So whatever the outstanding loan amount is, so every year, here's what will happen is you're going to get, so you pull $100,000 out, and I believe that the loan rate is around 6%, 5-6%, somewhere in there. And so what you'll do is every year you're going to get a bill from Country that will only include, hey, you need to pay the interest on your loan, but it goes right back into your life policy. All right. It's not like Country takes that and it's in a different pot of money. No, it goes, you are loaning on your cash value, and that cash value portion charges you a 6% rate. And as you pay that interest back in, it goes right back into your cash value. And so just what you said, Jeremy, death, the person who had that, or that had the life policy on themselves, they died. All right. So they had $100,000 and the loan still outstanding. They never paid any principal back at all, which you never have to if you don't want to. Right. That's the way this works. I would say you definitely need to pay back the interest, because what'll happen is if you don't do that, then it'll eat into all the rest of the cash value, because it's the product is wanting the interest payment because you've taken a loan, so they're going to look for it somewhere, and you don't want the policy to go defunct. Like, you don't want it to eat itself up. All right, but when it comes to a claim, the first thing they look at is any outstanding loans. And if the death benefit was $500,000 and you had a $100,000 loan, they're going to now owe you $400,000. Or whoever the Benny is. All right. They always take out the loan whatever's loaned out, whatever's outstanding, they're going to minus that from the death benefit. And then the client gets the rest. Or whoever the beneficiary is, it's what's left over. So, like I said, you don't have to pay back your loans if you don't want to. But again, make sure you pay the interest, because you don't want any of those dividends to be eaten up, because the interest could outweigh the dividend, and then the policy's gonna fall apart. All right. For savings account, for some people, whole life insurance is, hey, I make this commitment for this larger payment, and it almost forces me to do it, right? I'll be honest with you. I have an IUL, and it's a hefty payment each month. I don't look at it as a payment. I'm not doing it for the life insurance. I'm doing it to complement all the other investments and 401ks and retirement funds that we have in our financial plan. And the IUL complements that effort. So I look at it as I'm saving for my future, and I'm using an IUL vehicle to do so, right? Our IUL product is amazing. It's very conservative. I've made 8% in that product every month that I've had it, for about 2 years now, except for 1 month, and it was 6.6%. And now they've increased the ceiling to 8.5. So if it's appropriate and we're gonna do a whole deep dive on IULs as a district. All right. I need to make sure every single one of you knows how an IUL works, which is a permanent life insurance product. All right. As long as you follow the process of the IUL. That one is a little bit, it's great for business owners because it's more flexible than a whole life product. But you also have to be careful that it's not too flexible for you. And then it, again, goes defunct because you didn't put enough money into it. All right. Whole life insurance guarantees that you have coverage in place on the day you die. All right. No matter when you die. You cannot say that about a term product. All right. It can be borrowed against, just like we talked about. It can be paid off, just like we have the different products we have. We have 10 pay, we have a 20 pay, we have a life paid up at 65. I have a 20 pay and an LP 65, which I think my 20 pay will be paid off before my LP 65. That means that at 65, I no longer have that payment, and I still have the insurance, right? Because I'm overstuffing it without mecking it to get to that point where I don't have to pay for it when I'm in retirement, right? That's the whole goal on some of those. And we also have an executive whole life, which means you pay it your whole life, all right? You pay it every single month, but it's a lesser of a payment because you're not stuffing as much money as you can in there without mecking it. Again, the benefits are tax deferred growth, tax-free death benefit, tax-free distribution on cash borrowed. That's what we talked about. We tax on any of that. Okay, any questions on that? Make sense? Whole life insurance too, premium never changes. Death benefit increases each year if you choose that, where the dividend purchases more insurance, which is common. That's option 4. It's kind of built in as a default every time you do a quote, right? But you can't change that depending on your client situation. If terminated or surrendered, you have your refund of your cash value, right? There are people that are like, hey, I really don't need this whole life anymore. I'm just gonna go ahead and cancel it and take the cash value. All right, there's also what we can do is do a reduced paid up, which means if this person is still paying into it and they don't want to make that payment anymore, because their situation changed, we can always take the cash value, and it's called a reduced paid up, where we take that cash value and stuff it into it's almost mirrors a single premium whole life, where at least we keep some life insurance. They don't have to make any more payments. So it's called a reduced paid up. You can use it as collateral for loan and business situations. Some people say, hey, my cash value, my life insurance, I'm going to use as collateral. I need a loan, without you taking the loan on the whole life insurance, whatever, maybe a certain situation. Guaranteed return. It's also competitive with other fixed investment products that we have. Like I said, the IUL that I'm doing is a complement to the diversification of all my other investment vehicles, and it's probably a more conservative, right? Because it's just a complement, right? And that's how I view it. I don't know what he means by judgment proof. Let's just move on. All right, so cost of term versus whole life insurance. So this, you just use an example throughout the rest of these slides. Hey, 40-year-old male, non-tobacco, rated preferred plus for 500,000 in coverage. This is how much it is for a level life 30 years term. For 30 years with a ROP, and then you have a whole life, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's a big difference per month, right? So he's gonna go through here and just kind of talk about, hey, if we did the 10 and a 20-year versus a permanent, you can see how the step up in the 10s, the 10-year term, like I hope you guys all know that a 10-year term does not actually expire. Because it's like renewable every single year on the series that we have now. And so, but what it does is it definitely increases in premium, because terms are cheap for a reason. It's like they're front loaded on the inexpensive part of the rental. And then if you keep it, because I don't know, let me just throw this out there. Why might somebody keep a term that is expired already? Guys know. Take a step.
So that they could renew it, or convert it, excuse me, to a whole life.
Well, okay, so you're going to have to make sure that conversion is done, that they qualify for it, right? They're not over age 65, and the term that they're converting has not expired yet. But why might somebody just go past the expiration, and they're going to get a bill the next month for probably for some people 5 times what they're paying monthly for the first 10 years if it's a 10-year term? Why would somebody pay that? Yeah, they're uninsurable, right? They're uninsurable, and they feel like maybe it's if they did the comparison on converting that to a whole life product, or maybe they're past the age of 65 and they can convert. Right, or maybe they're uninsurable, and they might know that they have a terminal illness, something like that. So they're and I'm talking about the series we currently have, because if you receive book of business, you may look, if you ever ran a listing, like just go in and run a beneficiary listing on your life book of business, and you'll see probably if you've received a book of business, you will probably see different series that we no longer offer, right? And so on the ones that we offer now, it's renewable every year if you go beyond the expiration date. On previous series that we had, there's some that were 10-year renewable for 10 years. All right, and there's lots of people that have that product. Every 10 years it's set. For the next 10 years, I know I'm paying this much, and in 10 years it's going to increase to this much. So That's what he's talking about here. There's also the term 20, where you go out 20 years and then you have, because it's renewable, it's going to increase dramatically more than the 10, right? And then you have premiums that are just all the way across, never change in a permanent life insurance. So it's just these ones change, this one doesn't. We're talking about cost. He has an example here, which is, the 10 pay whole life. That's where you least amount of time that you stuff your premium into a whole life product is the 10 pay. And then all of a sudden for 10 years, you no longer have to pay it anymore, right? So for some people, they might be in a position where they can make that 10-year commitment and that's all they want to do it for, and then when be done. That's a 10 pay whole life, right? I mean, when you look at this, you only pay it 10 years and then you're done paying. You don't have to pay it anymore. And as long as, paying dividends and all of that, that will continue to grow the death benefit. This one is to age 100 whole life. So that's our executive whole life. Never changes. Premium never changes, right? Stays the same, but you pay it for your whole life. Annual renewable term. That's when the term is expired, but it renews every year at a higher premium. So that's that one. And then we have our 30-year level term, which all of these spike up after that expiration point, right? The 10, the 15, the 20, and the 30. So he's just basically showing a graph of, yes, you might pay a lot here, but then you don't pay. So these products are perfect for everybody that you're going to come across in some particular way. All right. So your job is to make sure and put your client in the best product possible for their current situation and what you might have future conversations with them about. When we talk, he did kind of a breakdown, right? And he said this slide was where everyone was just like, oh my gosh, but when you're dealing with people that are on a strict budget, like take that example, 500,000 for, a new family, just bought a first time home buyer, they might just do the term, right? And that's okay. That absolutely is. But if you have somebody who's like, no, I want the biggest bang for my buck, then you cannot overlook a whole life product, because basically the cash value less the premium paid after 30 years. I mean, this one, you don't get anything back, right? You just pay off the premium and you rented it for a certain amount of time that you needed it and you were willing to do that, right? Anybody who rents an apartment, a condo, a home, same thing. You're just willing to rent it and then not have any ownership of it. Then you can walk away after it's done, This one here is the term product with return of premium. So you actually paid a little bit more, but you get all your money back. Okay. This one is you paid even more, but now you have cash value in it. And you have more than really, I think in this example, the investment all the way up to the end was a little over 100,000. Right. But then you have cash value of way more than that because of the dividend growth. Right. So it just depends on, your risk tolerance and what type of investor or, what do you want to do? All right. This slide here, he really, because I know we're getting down on time here, he really made the point of not waiting. All right. When you have a birthday, everything increases. All right. So he said, cost for Andy, 200,000 whole life on Tuesday, $596 the next, 2 days after that, after he had a birthday, it's now $625. So it went up almost $30 a month. Right. That's how that works. Then he just said, it's basically the point is the earlier you get it, the better. If we're comparing the same death benefit at 10-year increments, see how much it increases a month. And you can do the math on, all the way out to the end type of thing. The great thing about term is that you can convert to kind of what Jeremy was alluding to, is you can't be over age 65 in the current series that we have. And the term can't have expired. Right, you got to catch it before it expires. But that's where, if you have a book of business working your red zone, that's what we call a red zone is, hey, start contacting people 14 months before their term expires to give them time for you to have that conversation with them about conversion, if that is something they want to do. Or some people just want to let their term life expire and say, hey, we used it for what you needed it to, we don't need it anymore. All right, then you want to let it go all the way out to the end. And don't have them cancel before it runs out. Right, because then you get a negative life consequence. If you wrote it, right? Not if it was given to you. So none of you here would have that on a current product unless you wrote the product. Let's see. Converting to whole life. So no underwriting. Again, this is your term product. It's ending its life. That's why I was laughing at this picture. And you're going to convert it to this where it's a permanent. You don't ever have to worry about it. Interested in learning more, and then he says to contact him. So I thought it was I thought it was very well done, put together, very easy to explain. Right? Any questions? You guys got it down. Like I don't. Wow.
Gotta get the reps in.
The other thing that I can't even process that part of what you just did, because I'm not ready for that yet, I guess, right this second. It seems like I'm just in the service mode, in the office mode, and that's like a different level of stuff to have to actually be, trying to say the right word. It just seems like I'm not ready to have these life conversations just yet.
And we're gonna force your hand, Miles. We're
I
gonna
know.
force your hand. So the thing about this business is if you are a compartmentalizer or I gotta have everything buttoned up before I move on to the next thing, I'm gonna force you out of your comfort zone, right? Because there are, and this is the way I look at it, there are people in your book of business, Miles, that are waiting for this conversation. They need it, right? So it's, hey, we're going to keep talking about it, get you more and more comfortable with it, because you need to start prompting these conversations. And whether you feel you're ready for it or not, we're going to get you ready, right? Because your clients deserve it. It's not about you. It's about your clients, your prospects, anyone that you're going to come in contact with. They need your guidance. They need your expertise. They need your help.
There is kind of something to the, they talked about it at the kickoff. Here's the video that got played, but the concept of the pipeline, you never want that pipeline to run empty. So if you ever finish and you're like, ah, cool, I got everything done, then your pipeline's empty, and that's bad.
That's empty.
I think that just, for me, just quoting, it's kind of how you'll kind of understand more, printing out the illustration, looking at it. The universal is one that I get in there. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I mean, the
And you shouldn't. Skylar, it is a complicated product. It absolutely is. And that's why we're going to do a deep dive. It's a 3-part series. I already have it out on my calendar. I just haven't sent it to you guys yet. And really what we're going to do is the first part's going to be the who, what, when, why, how. Like okay, how do I talk about this? Who's a good candidate? Why are they a good candidate for it? When do I present this? Like, we're going to talk about all of that, right? Because you got to know those things first. And then we're going to roll into, okay, how do I quote it? What are the nuances of it? Why do a level death benefit versus an increasing death benefit? And there are things you have to uncover before you can answer some of those quoting scenarios, right? There's so many different scenarios that you could put this product into the hands of a client. But you have to know, you would never put an IUL product together without knowing a lot of information about the client and their reasoning for wanting an indexed universal life product. All right. Now, some people just say, I just need flexibility. Right. But I need to know more than that. And for some of you, I've had the conversation about my own and after a year, they're not going to remember why they did that, why they did what. Right? Even I didn't remember. I was like, no, I'm not doing it for the life insurance. I'm using it to stuff money into as much as I can because it's a tax-free vehicle, right? And so why do I have an increased death benefit? I didn't want that. I don't want my dividends to purchase more life insurance. Right? I don't need it. And so my agent, she reminded me, no, Christine, here's what I have in the notes, is that you want to be able to stuff more and more money into this product. So in order to do that, we need to increase the death benefit over the years. It's like, oh, that's right. Okay. So right now my max fund is this amount. I max fund it every year. And then 5 years from now, I could put even more money into it, but then I could never go over this dollar amount. Right? And so basically I'm gonna have, there's Nick Irwin in advanced planning and then Kyle Kidwell in product support. Kyle Kidwell's amazing. All right, like you guys have access to him anytime. He's our product support person for Market One. Right, so you can call him. You have a client that mentions the IUL and you're like, okay, Kyle, explain this in layman's terms to me. And he will. That's his job. You set an appointment with him, he will discuss it with you, right? So anyway, we're going to do that. And then our third part is, okay, what do I do when they get their annual statement? That's a big thing too. Like, what does that look like? What are the expectations? How do I explain this to them? You have to know all of that, right? Because this is a very lucrative product for yourself on the selling side and for your client on the need side. But not everybody's a good candidate for an IUL. Right, so Skylar, we're going to take care of that. All right, and I do not want you guys not talking about a certain income stream that could be an income stream for you and your business because you're not comfortable. Then let's get you comfortable. But unless I know that, I can't help you. There are very successful life insurance agents on our team that will not talk about the IUL product. I'm like, oh, I just like whole life better. I go, no, you don't. You're just unwilling to invest your time in the IUL, even though some of your clients in your book of business would be perfect candidates for it. You don't have any other product to help them in their situation other than the IUL, because you won't get comfortable with it. You won't present it. That's unfair to your client. Off my IUL soapbox. I love product. Any other questions? Was that helpful today? Did you find value in that? More and more, it's not hard. It's very simple conversations, right? And your clients deserve to have you talk about it. Yeah, I want you to be as comfortable with pivoting to life and investments, even though none of you are a financial advisor, right? That's going to be part of your product because I'm going to show you, you have to have all streams of income going on. And that pivoting to investments and hooking up with a financial advisor for your client is an income stream for you. It's not just $100. Like, you do get $100 for the referral. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about countries positioning themselves for you not only to get the first financial bucket of commission on that, but an ongoing, and that's coming in the future. Even though you're not a financial advisor, they're positioning it because they need you guys in your books of business to refer to a financial, and your clients need it too. Your clients need help. If they're not getting it from you, they're going outside, they're getting it from somewhere. Why not keep that in our district? We have some of the best financial advisors in the whole company on our team. 10:02. I'll let you guys go. Have a great day.
Thanks, Christine.
Thanks for being here. All right, bye.
Thank you. Bye.